Welcome back, everyone. The current deal to open the government is set to expire on February the 15th. So if that date passes with no deal or Congress can't agree on funding for the border wall, should President Trump declare a state of emergency to get things done? And will he? Ryan.
Well, he certainly has the statutory authority. The 1976 National Emergency Act gives him that authority. And then if he were to invoke it, every president, Bush invoked it on 9/11, Obama invoked it for the swine flu. Trump could decide.
Swine flu?
Swine flu, yeah.
The flu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not diminishing swine flu, I'm just expressing.
Yeah, but I'm sure the swine flu was much more afraid after that got declared.
But my colleague John Eastman has written a bunch about this. The invocation of the national emergency would trigger a bunch of other statutory authority for the president, including the Barack Obama in 2009 suspended the building of the fence that was passed under the 2006 Secure Fence Act. So there's about 400 miles left to build, which could happen with military help.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that.
There was, by the way, a national emergency with respect to blocking property of persons who threaten international stabilization efforts in the Western Balkans. That was declared more than 17 years ago in 2001, June of 2001, to impose sanctions on helping armed Albanian insurgents in Macedonia.
Again, let's not
this
minimize
is not
it.
Unprecedented in dealing in being able to get something done.
Just so everyone understands, very different then in terms of legal instrument from an executive order.
Right. No, some even on the right have been saying, this would be comparable to what Truman did in seizing the steel mills, but relying on his own executive authority. But no, the president has plenty of statutory authority passed by Congress in the last 30 years.
Okay.
I think the authorities there, I hate this. I do not want to see this happen. I thought President Bush was appropriate after 9/11, the terrorist attack, and thousands of Americans have died at that point. And I recognize the severe crisis that this truly is. But this is a legislative fix. This is Congress failing to do its job. The consequence of elections should be based on this. And I worry about the creativity of Democrats in power. Everything you can think of, from climate change to you name it, to just use that executive branch power. I believe that the executive branch has become far too powerful. There is an imbalance.
Okay,
but to say we have three equal co-branches of government, that is not true
what will
anymore.
Feed into the choice, though, I think, are polls, in the sense of would the American people accept this? This is a big problem, with Obamacare and with only half of Congress allowing it. It wouldn't work because we weren't all behind it. So I think that what the president's been doing, and this recent decision, is him showing everyone, look, I am trying everything. Congress has failed. This is the way to do it, and that is that's how to get the American people behind that decision.
I think you totally nailed it, and I think it's if the president, if this is his intention, then he really needs to go out there and spend those weeks ahead of us between now and February the 15th, really putting a deal out there, selling it, and showing that he's reasonable, and then that this was the last resort.
Absolutely.
But if that's what happens, February the 15th, no deal, he declares the emergency. People are saying, well, the first thing that happens is it gets challenged in court. And so tell us about that process and how it gets bogged down, and how you get out of it.
Well, a big part of the resistance against Trump has been in the district courts and in lower federal courts, issuing nationwide injunctions, basically halting action by the administration. And
can that be done to this?
Oh, of course, yeah.
By who? Who would do it? Any
district court in California or wherever else. It depends on who would have standing.
ACLU, it's an immigration group.
And then there's this talk, everyone's, they're playing out the process, and they say, oh, well, it goes to the Ninth Circuit, you get a ruling against him. Then what happens?
But the president, I believe, can ask the Supreme Court, if I'm correct, to intervene even before it goes through those steps.
That's interesting.
They don't like to do that, but they have done it before. And I think especially if it's something that is, obviously, if he's declaring a national emergency, the Supreme Court might step in and say.
I really don't see the need for this. It is already authorized by Congress to build the wall. They don't need the authorization to build the wall, to create an impediment to build a fence.
Is that the 2006 Secure Fence Act?
There are several pieces of legislation that already put that in place. It is one of appropriations, and there was more than $300 billion in the last year of Barack Obama's presidency, where they took non-authorized programs and appropriated and spent money over there. It is common practice for agencies to say, well, we didn't fully spend this budget, so we're going to move it over to this account.
But see, that too would be, someone would sue over that. The Supreme Court absolutely would not intervene.
It happens regularly.
The Supreme Court would not intervene on it. With a national emergency, they likely would intervene and say, of course you have the statutory right to do this. This could be the one way to get it done without being bogged down in the courts forever.
Well, we're going to totally keep talking about this, I know, because it feels like it's heading in that direction, looking at the intransigence of Pelosi and the Democrats and the kind of language they're using. But, I thought that was a very creative, interesting, constructive solution for enabling the president to get it done without the national emergency.